In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. For the couple of weeks, we have been reading from the Gospel of Mark. And there is something that has been so persistent in this Gospel. The opposition against Jesus by the Pharisees and the scribes. And this opposition keeps on mounting as Jesus progresses with his mission, simply because of his revolutionary-like way of teaching. For instance, in most instances, he has healed on the Sabbath day. He has sat at table with sinners. He has also encouraged his disciples not to fast, as long as he is still with them. All this stirred up hatred and opposition, so much that at one moment he was accused of being possessed with Beelzebul, or the king of demons, and also his family at one moment, they thought he was out of his mind. In the Gospel of today, we hear him utter a controversial statement to his opponents. There is nothing outside man which by going into him can defile him. Of course, this was a continuous response to what has transpired yesterday, when he was accused of allowing his disciples to eat without washing their hands. This pronouncement must be a shocker to a legalistic Jew whose religion was a matter of taboos and rules. And one of the taboos was the concept of cleanliness and uncleanness. For a Jew, certain category of people, animals, places, and things were considered unclean, to the extent that once you get in contact with any of these, you also become unclean. And so there is a need for you to undergo a process of cleansing, lest you contaminate whichever you get in contact with as well. So for these scribes and the Pharisees, such observances were the essence of the religion. For them to observe them was to please God, and to break them was to sin against God. On the contrary, Jesus comes with a different idea of religion, one that goes against such external legalistic practices that lack interior dispositions. For instance, for a legalistic Jew, it did not matter for one to harbor hatred, bitterness, and hostility, as long as he observed the correct laws about cleanliness and uncleanliness. And this reminds me of one incident that happened some years back at one of our communities in Uganda. There is a nearby minor seminary. And so one time I'd gone there for a personal prayer in their chapel. So I sat in one of the corners behind the chapel, of course inside. And as I was there, it was during the break time for these boys. I saw two boys coming chasing each other. So the one who was being chased went to the other extreme end and sat there. The one who was chasing him, he comes, and when he reaches there, he bows before the tabernacle. He goes, finds him there where he was seated. He gave him two big slaps. He comes again, stands before the tabernacle. He bows, and there he goes. For him, he had reverence for the God in the tabernacle than for the God in that his friend. Perhaps sometimes we have done so. We have behaved that same way, or in the other way. And it is in the face of that kind of hypocrisy that Jesus made this revolutionary statement that there is nothing outside man which by going into him can defile him, but things which come out of man are what defile him. And included in his statement was the declaration of all foods as clean. This was because some people had suffered and died on the ground of food taboos. This, when you read The story of this woman and her 7 sons in the second book of Maccabees, chapter 7, will give you a picture of how things were. In a nutshell, Jesus was saying that things cannot be either clean or unclean. In any real religious sense of the term, only persons can really be defiled, and what defiles a person is his own actions, which are the product of his own heart. In other words, it is our inner state of being that determines our state of being worthy or unworthy before God. All our wicked practices and actions emerge from the wickedness of our hearts. The book of Proverbs rightly warns, more than all else, keep watch over your heart, since here is the wellsprings of life. That is chapter 4, verses 23. And this reminds us of what was earlier said in the first reading, that is Genesis chapter 2. As we have heard, after the whole process of creating man, that man became a living soul. The Mother Church teaches us that the soul refers to the innermost aspect of man, that which is of great value. That is according to the Catechism of the Catholic Church, number 363. Here I'm trying to teach you what the Church teaches. I still remember one of our professors up there, when you try to bring your nonsense, he tells you, hopeless. Is that what the Church teaches you? So I don't want to be hopeless. I want to teach you what the Church teaches us. And that's why I'm taking you to the Catechism. The Church Father states that this innermost aspect of man abides in the heart, where a person decides for or against God. That is number 368. Indeed, renowned spiritual masters of all ages have confirmed that our inner life, or the heart, plays a fundamental role in our quest for God. And one of them, Henry Nouwen, in one of his books, The Way of the Heart, writes, and I quote, "From the heart arise unknowable impulses, as well as conscious feelings, moods, and wishes. The heart is the seat of the will, where choices and decisions are made." End of quotes. And this was the central message of Jesus in today's gospel, paying attention to the cleanness of the heart, or our inner life, for out of it comes good or evil products. And he mentioned some of the evils or vices that can spring from our hearts, such as evil thoughts, fornication, theft, murder, adultery, slander, deceit, envy, pride, and foolishness. All these come from within, and they defile us. And this is where sometimes I fail to understand people who resort into condemning the devil for their evil doings. It was a devil. It was a devil. Father, it was a devil. No. The devil is within you. So every outward act of sin is preceded by an inward act of choice. Thus, dear friends, if our words and actions were to be good, then our hearts needed to be washed and not our hands. The Lord is not interested in our external superficial dramas in the name of piety. All what he desires from us is a contrite and humble heart. This one, you'll find it in Isaiah chapter 57, verses 15. So, my dear friends, again, the studies that we are doing, or we have done, should primarily help us in the formation of our own hearts, lest we become like those Pharisees and the scribes who were stuck in opaque religiosity. It is said that the longest journey you will make in your life is from your head to your heart.